My name's Samantha Bayard, and I'm here with Straight Goods News at the Ottawa Convention Centre, covering the Liberal Convention with over 3,300 delegates and members represented. It's been an exciting weekend.
Well, look around. The future is really quite remarkable. This is a big surprise to most of us. We worked hard to make sure this was going to be a successful convention, but this has really exceeded our expectations. So I think there's a wow factor here, and there's also a feeling of this is something worth fighting for, and that's a really good energy to try to tap into. A lot of creativity, a lot of passion. And that's important when you begin to build a team, which we hope will become a high-performing team over time. And only high-performing teams, in my view, can
well, I think
ultimately
emerging
succeed.
out of this convention, we're going to have a new national executive elected with a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of great people running. It was a tough choice for me to vote for some of the positions, because I think that we had a very rich diversity of the candidates. I think there's been a lot of people who feel more empowered now with a lot of the reforms that we've had, reaching out to new supporters, really formalizing the relationship between the Big L party and small L Liberal supporters, the millions of people who voted Liberal but who aren't party members. I think it's important that we've formalized that relationship now by having things like the supporters resolution passed, which I was a supporter of, and I think that that's an important step that the party can take to help rebuild, renew, get new people involved.
I am so re-energized. Such passion, enthusiasm, and energy out of this weekend. I mean, who would have thought? Mid-January, in the second coldest capital in the world, 3,300 Liberals would have come here. Over 33,000 people online visiting us as well. I am so energized and enthusiastic about this weekend. I mean, the desire to keep the debate going on those policy amendments, those constitutional amendments. I mean, we passed over 30 of them. People didn't want to go home last night. It was 9:30 and we had to put to a vote whether we keep going. There were still 800 people in the room. Are you kidding me? We are back.
We're both very disappointed with the results, but as far as the future of the Liberal Party, well, I think this entire weekend has rejuvenated all of us, regardless of the results. And after May the 2nd, everyone was super bummed, but I think this proves that Liberals are coming back, and we had such a great turnout at this convention as far as youth goes. So I'm very, very optimistic.
Yeah, there were so many amazing people here that we met, and I loved every minute of it. I will never, ever forget it.
Well, we obviously have a lot of work to do, but this convention, with over 3,000 delegates, the largest convention we've had in years for a policy convention, really speaks to the future. We've passed a lot of important resolutions that I think are going to change the way people think about the party, and now we just got to get our policies out and start really fighting.
Well, I couldn't agree with James more. I think this is really a watershed convention for us as a party. I'm running for National Membership Secretary because one of the things I see is the resurgence, if you will, since the last election, of people who want to either come back to the Liberal Party or join the Liberal Party, because they're recognizing that after the May 2nd results, the complacency and apathy is getting them a country they may not in fact want. So we're very excited as the party. The reports of our death are obviously greatly exaggerated. Here we are, there's energy. There has been some of the most innovative and sort of bold ideas coming out of this convention, and I think we're in fabulous shape to go forward and rejuvenate or re-energize might be a good term, the Liberal Party.
I think this convention speaks volumes. The party has engaged in an evolution and a transformation of itself, and I think by doing that will help transform the political process in our country, I think for the better. So it was a significant challenge that we undertook in this convention, and to have 3,200 delegates, paid delegates, come to Ottawa in the middle of January is no mean feat. We had 4,000 people in that room because of a number of volunteers, press, observers. I think that speaks somewhat to a party that's far from dead. We are now, I think, in a position to reclaim a lot of the territorial, of the political.
I think it's incredibly exciting. It's so heartening to have gone from obviously some disappointing results in May to seeing 3,300 people show up for some event from across Canada who've, paid the delegate fees, traveled through snowstorms to get here. I think that in itself is a huge message. And no matter, the outcomes, there are lots of exciting things happening on the floor, but that says so much for the future of the party. And I'm incredibly excited.
Well, I think the party has made very real progress in the last 8 months, considering where we were on the evening of May the 2nd with the results of the election. Liberals had to take some time to absorb that, to come to terms with it. And I think we've been doing that. We're not all back yet, but it's coming along very nicely. We've had I think time to reflect on the numbers, and the real question after the election was, is a Liberal revival precluded by what happened on the 2nd of May? Mr. Harper says there's been a great Conservative transformation. The country has changed fundamentally. But the difference in percentage points between Mr. Harper in 2006 and Mr. Harper in 2011 was exactly the grand total of 3%. So it hasn't changed a lot. So Liberals obviously can get back in the game. The question is how and when and what's the process here. So we've expanded our memberships. 15,000 more people are members of the party now than were at the time of the election. We've had the best fundraising year that we've ever had in the modern history of the party. We now have 3,300 registered delegates at this convention. That's the biggest political convention in Canada, apart from a leadership convention, for any political party. So that's an excellent result from our point of view. We've had a good mood at this convention. It was possible that Liberals would come here angry or unhappy or grumpy. That's not the case. There's a very positive mood among the delegates. So there's a real, I think, positive atmosphere and outcome. We've passed some resolutions that go to the structural makeup of the party, making the party more open, more inclusive, more transparent. That's good. But now we've laid the foundation. The heavy lifting has to continue in reaching out to Canadians, getting more people engaged. The rules now allow it. So open the tent, bring more people in, and we need to work on those critical, game-changing policy ideas, the platform items for 2015 that Canadians will find attractive. So a lot more work to be done, but a good start in the first 8 months.
I'm very, very encouraged about the future of the Liberal Party of Canada. We've had a huge turnout of delegates from all over the country. There's been free and frank discussion in every session. We've talked about policy. We've voted to change a few things so that we are not afraid to try some new strategies, some new approaches to engaging Canadian voters to get people back to the voting booths. I'm very, very
to listen to Canadians and be inclusive and be community-minded and hear what people want from their government and the future that they want for their country, and to incorporate that in compelling policies that reflect those values of Canadians.
Well,
as we
I think this
about.
is a good convention. I think the people are here wanting to deal with some sacred cows and get the party back in shape to be competitive in the next election. I think people are realizing that the party desperately needed renewal, and so they're taking some of the steps I think that they need to take. I'd like to see them take some more, but it's heading in the right direction.
I think there's lots of change happening in the Liberal Party. It's not the same old party that Canadians are used to. There's lots of stuff happening. For example, the adoption of supporters in the party. That's a new thing that's just happened. And there's an atmosphere of change really around here, and I'm looking forward to see what happens. Something's definitely going to happen with the Liberal Party, and it's something that Canadians should be watching to see what happens.
Well, let me first start by saying that I am not actually a card-carrying Liberal member. In fact, I don't think I've voted Liberal in the past. I can't remember the last time I voted Liberal, to be honest, and I'm 36. So it's been a while since I voted Liberal. But I will say that I've been deeply encouraged by what's been going on here. And I came to give an academic talk about women in politics. I'm not even here as a representative from a riding or anything. I've never been to a political convention before either. And I would say that I think Canadians would be deeply encouraged by what's going on here, that they would actually find inspiration even in the discussions in the room that I've heard. The level of discourse is really, really high. I teach politics at the University of Oxford. And I'm really impressed by how Canadians are engaging and how thoughtful they've been, how civil they've been to each other. The way that they disagreed has been on matters of substance. And I sent out a tweet last night saying that, in comparison to question period, this is the level of discourse here is so much higher. And that has been really heartening. I think, shockingly for me, this being here and being in this convention, it's completely out of serendipity, but I feel like it's revived my faith in democracy. Yeah, it really has. And I never thought I would say that. I never thought I would say that party politics would do that for me.